Conversations with Nicole. Let's talk about it. Tell me all about it. I'm here. I wanna know what's on your mind. Ooh, the world needs to hear from you, and I'm so glad to have a conversation to reach the nation. And it's all about you. We'll help each other to discover innovative ways to positively change the world. Let's talk about, let's talk about, yeah. Let's talk about conversations with Nicole.
Greetings, greetings, greetings. Welcome to Conversations with Nicole. I am Nicole Everett, your host, and this is what I call Wellness Wednesday. Wellness Wednesday is an opportunity for you and me and my guests to talk about whatever it is we want to talk about, but we are talking about mental health in the Black and Brown community. I have been having clinicians of color on since the middle of November, and boy, we have been having some very interesting conversations and healing conversations, I believe. So I am super excited and delighted to be here with you all. I missed you all on Monday, but I had a really great reason to be absent. I received an award from Hallelujah 95.3 and the Capital Outlook newspaper here in Tallahassee, the African Americans in Media Awards. The Sheila Johnson Trailblazer Award was given to me. I was the recipient. And so I'm giving a shout out to Live Communications and Doc D and Tarlisha and the whole crew over there for just a wonderful, wonderful evening. So I was showered with flowers and a beautiful award, and it was just a splendid evening. So I missed you all on Monday, but again, had a really good reason to be absent. So I see some congratulations coming in. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I am super excited about my guest tonight. I have to give a shout out to Tamika Brown for connecting me with Miss Danielle Coleman. We have a great conversation in store for you tonight around couples therapy and the secret to a happy marriage. So I'm really ready to have this conversation. This is something that I probably would normally have on Singles Mingles, but counseling, marriage counseling, couples therapy is very important. So y'all listen, we're on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Roku TV tonight. So tell folks they need to tune in, go to the app, go to the website, greaterworks.network, and check us out. We are live streaming on all of those platforms. But before I introduce Danielle, I gotta give shout outs to the folks that are tuning in. So let me say greetings to Princess. Thanks for being here. Hey there, Tara. Thanks for tuning in. My Tallahassee crew is in the house. Greetings, Nora, my cousin Nora in Virginia. Thank you for tuning in. And Ruby Fryer, thank you for the congratulations. Appreciate you tuning in. And Ozzy is in Virginia Beach, and he is also a clinician and has been on the show a couple times. So thank you, Ozzy, for the congratulations, and I'm so glad to see you. All right. While others are chiming in, I do ask folks to put in your city and your state so we can give you a shout out. I see you, Kim. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate you being here. And while you all are doing that, I am going to go ahead and read some of Miss Danielle's bio. Danielle Coleman is a licensed clinical social worker with more than 25 years of experience. In her career, she has been honored to work as a school social worker, medical social worker, case manager, and program coordinator for partial hospitalization and adult mental health treatment program. She is the owner of Choice Communications, a mental health training and consulting company. She got her bachelor's degree in psychology from North Carolina Central University in Durham, North Carolina, HBCU Love, and her master's degree in social work from the University of Georgia in Athens, Georgia. She currently works in an outpatient therapy private practice in Huntersville, North Carolina. So she's based in North Carolina, and she is an active member of the National Association of Social Workers and a member of the Academy of Certified Social Workers and is a certified clinical social work supervisor. She is the wife of one husband, Troy, and parents to Jeremy, her adult son, Jeremy, her two daughters, Tatum and Logan. And she is truly committed to the field of social work, a work she defines as arduous but gratifying. So help me welcome Miss Danielle Coleman. Yay!
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, welcome,
Thank,
welcome.
thank you so much for the opportunity, and thank you, Tamika Brown,
Yes,
for connecting Nicole and I. Thank you,
yes,
Tamika.
yes, yes. Thank you, Tamika. Appreciate you being on. And I'm so excited. We've had some conversation, prior to now, of course, to connect. And you are very excited about this topic. So, you spoke so passionately about it. So I was like, we gotta make it happen. So before we dive into the topic, tell the folks who is Danielle Coleman? Not what you do, but who is Danielle Coleman?
So you mentioned earlier, I am married to my husband Troy, and we will be married this coming June. 23 years. 23
Wow.
years. Yeah, we dated 3 years prior to that, so we've been together. I guess about 26 years in total.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's been a long, wonderful, interesting journey.
Mhm.
And yeah, so it's been good. I am also so I'm a mother of Jeremy is actually my stepson.
Okay.
And so I'm a mother of college graduate. He's fantastic big brother to our girls and a great son. And then our oldest daughter is a college student, North Carolina A&T State University. I struggle. Well, my college and this college are rivals, so um, it's all kind of rivalry in my home right now. But
Mhm.
we're really proud of her. She's 19 in her second year of college and doing fantastic. And then our youngest daughter is in the 11th grade in high school, and we're traversing being parents of a very independent minded young lady. So
Mhm.
anybody who knows Logan knows that she is um, quite unique.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's fine. Well, tell me about Danielle. That's what I want to know about. Who is Danielle?
So let's see. I am a dance mom.
Okay.
I have a lot of fantastic friends. I have a group of friends. They're other mental health providers. We call ourselves the Fabulous Five.
Okay.
And so we enjoy celebrating each other's successes and also being peer supports for each other professionally.
Nice.
So we like to have fun. We work hard and we like to have fun. I'm
Okay.
also a member of a really fantastic sorority. Uh, so I'm a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Really proud of all of the work that my sorority does here locally with the Rossi Omega chapter and also nationally. So I enjoy that work. I enjoy that involvement. And I like to read. I've been doing a personal Bible study with my friend Cherry, whose birthday is today. So, Cherry, if you're on, happy birthday. And I made a commitment when I turned 50 last summer to read the Bible from front to back. And
Nice.
so, of course, growing up um, as a Christian, growing up in the church, I've read the Bible, but have I ever sat down and read the Bible from the beginning to the end? I had not.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
so, turning 50, I decided I'm going to tackle it, and it's been pretty great.
Nice. Nice.
So
Nice.
that's who I am.
Good deal. Well, thank you for sharing that. So, what prompted you to get involved in counseling?
Well, okay, so I have been a therapist, like we said, for more than 25 years.
Hmm.
And it is a work of the heart. I, as a young child, wanted to help. And I don't know that I knew then that I wanted to be a therapist, but I knew that I wanted to help children and people who were maybe discounted. So I studied and majored in psychology in undergrad and believed that I would be a psychologist, understanding in the 80s that psychologists were people who helped, and primarily, in my understanding, helped children. And got to my third year of college and realized I don't want to be a psychologist. Psychologists do a lot of testing. And I really wanted to help. In fact, I remember raising my hand in a class and asking, we had a visiting psychologist there, and asking, when do you help? And she said, this is how we help. And I was like, I don't want to do that. Went to the Career Advisement Center, and I described to the lady what I wanted to do. And I was very frustrated about, oh my goodness, I'm getting ready to get this degree and this is not what I want to do. And so she said, have you ever considered social work? And I was like, oh, I don't want to do that. That's not for me. And she said, have you ever done any research about social work? No, ma'am. And she said, you do some research and you come back. And I did. And I learned that social work was wide and huge and vast and all the things that I wanted to do with regarding to help. And so I went back and said, how do I sign up? And I finished my degree in psychology that last year, took an extra semester, took as many social work classes as I could, applied to the University of Georgia, and got in. And it's been a love story, really. I absolutely love being a social worker. I love engaging with people and helping the individuals, the couples, the children that I've helped over the years. There's a lot of great satisfaction in knowing that I have been an instrumental part in people's healing mentally and emotionally.
Nice.
And, yeah, I love it.
Nice. You know what? I love it when people love what they do. So that is excellent.
I've heard Beyonce describe how she feels about the work she does. And I feel that way when I walk into a therapy session or when I walk in a training room. I clearly don't have Beyonce's skill set in singing and entertaining, but I feel that kind of excitement.
Listen, you can be the Beyonce of counseling, okay?
Yes.
The Beyonce of therapy. Listen,
I love it. I love it.
Make that happen, okay?
I love it. I love it.
I do too. All right. Well, a number of folks are chiming in, giving a Cherry a happy birthday. And
yeah,
someone said that God created you to do this work, Danielle.
Oh,
very sweet.
Ayana is one of my best and dearest friends.
Nice. Well, we are so glad.
A lot of my church members are on. I probably have sorority sisters on, other social work friends on. My family is on. I saw my Aunt Carmita on.
Nice.
So my mama should be on.
Okay. Nice. Yeah. Well, we are glad to have them all. Hopefully this won't be the last time that they join Conversations with Nicole, because we have these talks on Mondays and Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m. Awesome. And we want to invite folks to subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. But before we get started, I have a little disclaimer that I like to share, because we don't want to substitute counseling and therapy for what we are doing here. However, this is for information purposes only. So all topics past and present and future on Conversations with Nicole are for information purposes only. They are not to be used as a diagnosis for treatment or an answer to any personal issues related to the topic being discussed before, during, or after the program. So we, again, highly recommend you go see a counselor, go see a therapist, because they are not, and not that Danielle is not licensed. However, this is not a one-on-one session. She's not, although we may talk around your issue or scenario, you really need to, get with someone that's in the state that you are in. So she's in North Carolina. I know a number of my viewers are in Florida. But, there are clinicians out there that can serve you, and we'll be happy to provide resources around that as well. All right. So let's get started. So talk to me about marriage. You've been married for 23 years, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
so marriage, like, how do you know, like, when you're about to get married, like, how do you know that this person is the one for you?
Uh, so, boy, that's a loaded question for
It is.
sure.
Uh-huh.
So, I think that there is sometimes this misnomer that marriage is about a fairy tale, that you fall in love, you meet your soul tie, you meet your forever partner, and then you just dance off into the sunset together.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not quite like that.
Okay.
Not at all.
All right. All right.
Yeah. So marriage is a lot of hard work. It is. It's beautiful and it's wonderful, and there's a lot of wonderful joys and opportunities that come. Oh, my husband is on.
I feel.
So there's a lot of opportunity that comes um, in the sanctity and the union of marriage, but there's also a lot of struggle, and there's a lot of work. So how does a person know that they've met the one? I think you never know for certain
Mm-hmm.
who you're marrying. You believe you know.
Mm-hmm.
You hope you know. You
Mm-hmm.
pray you know. And for those of us who have a relationship with the Lord, I think it's real important that you know the Lord and they know the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
but but I don't know that you know that you've I don't know that there's a absolute definitive way to
Mm-hmm.
discern that you've met the one. I think that you do all of um, the logistical things that you need to do to understand this person's character and to understand that you and the person have like goals and you want similar things in life. I think all those things are important, and then I think you hope for the best and
Okay.
continue to nurture that relationship with the Lord, and that's key.
Okay. Would you recommend premarital counseling?
Absolutely, with an exclamation point.
Okay.
Yes, because there's so many things that couples maybe don't even consider. I think my husband is very handsome,
Mm-hmm.
and I wouldn't be married to him if he wasn't,
Oh,
for sure. But it takes more than just being a good looking person to be happy with them. And let
mm-hmm.
me tell you, looks they change.
They do. They
I
do.
he when he lost his hair, when I married Troy Coleman, he had hair, and Troy Coleman doesn't have hair anymore.
Okay.
And I remember when he went bald, I was like, I didn't sign up for this. And there's a whole lot that he can say he didn't sign up for either.
Mm, well.
So yeah, things change. Things change.
Mm-hmm.
So there's got to be a lot more to the marriage that's substantive than just he looks good or she looks good
Mm-hmm.
or they've got a really great job, because all
Right.
those things can change.
Mm-hmm. All right. So let me just pause real quick. I think we have a number of couples on here, or at least people that are married. So just this is an interactive live, so I did not put that disclaimer out when we got started. This is interactive, so we do expect to hear from you all. So church finger, hey, raise your hand, thumbs up. How many of you have gone to counseling, couples counseling, going to counseling with your spouse, with your mate? Okay, Danielle got her hand raised. All right. All right, very good. So folks are kind of chiming in. It's a little bit of a delay. So, all right, Ozzy said Proverbs 31:30. I think is that virtuous woman? I think so. Um, okay, E, I see you. You here with Fee. Hey y'all. Glad y'all here. All right, Whitney's on here. E said yes. Okay, Catherine said no. Kim said yes. Patricia, hold on. Got the thumbs up. Tara said yes. Renee said we need to go back in this season. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Glenda, yes.
Sometimes there's a benefit too for going back.
Mm-hmm.
People think you go one time and that's enough, and it's not. Sometimes you go back when you need it.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. All right. Warren said premarital counseling is a key component to having great communication in a marriage when truthfully executed.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you, Warren.
Do you want me to read the scripture that Ozzy shared?
Yeah. That'll be great.
Okay, so Proverbs 31:30 says, charm is deceitful and beauty is passing, but a woman who fears the Lord, she shall be praised.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Interesting. All right. Okay, so let's dive in. So, all right, so you did premarital counseling, get married. Should
Hmm.
you go to counseling before there's an issue, or should counseling only happen when there's an issue?
Yeah, that's a really good question too. So counseling comes in a lot of different forms. Obviously, there's one-on-one counseling where you come to a location. Well, now we do virtual counseling. There's my sister-in-law. You do virtual counseling in a setting much like what we're doing right now, and then of course people can come in person. But there are also counseling workshops, and
Mm-hmm.
so
Okay.
couples don't typically, I've not found, come to a counseling session when things are good.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, I think that going to workshops, seminars, even when things are good, can be very beneficial because learning tools, working on communication, working on being attentive to each other, reading books together, all of those things can be helpful.
Okay.
I find that for one-on-one regular counseling sessions, most of the people are working specifically on a goal,
Mm.
specifically to address an issue.
Okay.
So I personally haven't experienced a person just saying, we love each other so much, we just thought we wanted to come to therapy
Mm-hmm.
and just talk with you about how much we love each other. That doesn't
So,
typically happen.
if you're able to share, and of course not disclosing who your clients are, what are some of the more common goals that couples are working on?
And the number one thing most everyone says is they want to work on being better communicators,
Hmm.
or they have a communication downfall, or
Okay.
they don't believe that they're communicating well.
Mm-hmm.
That's mostly the number one reason why people come to therapy or verbalize that they've come to therapy.
Okay. All
Now,
right.
that doesn't necessarily mean that that's what the problem is.
Mm-hmm.
That's what people say the problem is. And I
Mm.
find sometimes by the third and certainly the fourth session is when I really learn what the problem is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Everybody blames it on communication. And
Okay.
sometimes it's not just communication. Sometimes it's resentment that's grown.
Mm.
Sometimes it's guilt. Sometimes it's pain and unforgiveness, for something that's happened 10 years ago, 15 years ago that people have been holding on to and they just won't let it go.
So
And
hold that thought for just one moment, because I want to bring up a comment that Renee put in. She said both parties have to be ready
mhm,
to engage in the process. Otherwise, you'll be progressing at different rates, which causes tension.
absolutely. Yeah. We mentioned, we were talking about that offline,
Yeah.
that couples counseling is not helpful if both parties are not open and ready.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Indeed. So folks are
Yeah.
chiming in here. Renee also said, we did the Live the Life session and loved it. Didn't do a good job of following the steps once we got home, but it did help.
And that's also key. Follow through is really important.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's one thing to go to counseling, and I tell the clients that I work with that going to counseling isn't enough if they're not willing to do the work. And the work is not just at the counseling session. I'll
Mm-hmm.
have sometimes clients that'll come and they'll say they've been waiting. Oh, my brother's sending me a message through my
Mm-hmm.
sister-in-law.
Got
They've been waiting all week to come back to counseling so they could talk to me or talk to each other about
it.
what's they're unhappy with, and
Mm-hmm.
not using the opportunity, taking the opportunity to talk to each other at home in between
Mm-hmm.
sessions.
So I gotta put up a comment. My family freshman brother Ishmael put up. He said, "Counseling doesn't hurt. It will only help bolster the marriage. It improves the communication. The more the parties know about each other and communicate with one another, the better they can serve one another, leading to a very fulfilling and enriching marriage."
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be surprised. I am often surprised at how unfamiliar couples are with each other.
Ooh.
Married people who don't really know their spouse. They don't know
So
basic information sometimes about their spouse's families. Sometimes they don't know about what their spouse's preferences are for goals in life or food choices. It's interesting.
how is that possible, Danielle? I'm just
People
trying
don't
to.
talk about substantive things. People focus on how they feel in the moment. You buy me flowers, I like you. You buy me gifts, I like you. You take me nice places, I like you. And that makes me love you, and that's enough.
No, it
Not
ain't.
enough. It's not enough. But it feels enough.
It feels
There
like
are
it is.
people who get married that never talk about children, and then they find out after they're married that their spouse really isn't interested in children.
Oh, I had a cousin that did that.
Right.
I had that. So I had a
Yeah.
cousin that
Yeah.
did that,
It
and
happens.
he was
Or,
not interested in children. She wanted children. They got a
yep.
divorce.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Or,
Mhm.
when we're young and we're drinking and smoking and we're partying, it's cool. And then we get older and now I'm thinking about children or he's thinking about children, but I still want to party. And the other person, that's my uncle. And they just celebrated their 37th wedding anniversary
Whoa!
yesterday. So they know a thing
Woo-hoo.
or two about marriage. My uncle, Julian
Congratulations.
Houston, my Aunt Doris. But people will, now he made me lose my train of thought.
It's okay. We're gonna read his comment. He said, "I know
Okay.
what I said. I have no idea what you heard. We filter everything through the experiences of our lives." Wow.
Oh, that's what, yeah. Yeah. That's
Mm-hmm.
about, yeah, the communication. I know what I
Mm-hmm.
said. I don't know what you heard is absolutely
Mm-hmm.
true.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely true. But what I was saying is that sometimes couples get married when they're young and they're partying and they are enjoying that partying life.
Mm-hmm.
And then they get older and then one of the persons in the relationship, they're ready to mature and they're ready to do more less partying and more family-based things and their partner
Mm-hmm.
isn't.
Yeah.
And that is it's often a deal breaker.
Mm-hmm. It is
Yeah.
a deal breaker. So we got my sister Jamil, my spiritual sister Jamia on, and she's been on the show a couple times. She's a clinician here in Tallahassee. She said, once my clients learn of me, they know they're going to have homework.
Hmm.
LOL. You got to do some work outside of our meeting.
Absolutely.
Mhm,
Absolutely. Yeah.
mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of comments on
Oh,
here.
there's my aunt,
Hey,
Aunt Carmita.
and Cherie said, I appreciate your
Yep,
insight, but just wanted to add marriage takes three, both spouses and God.
absolutely.
Okay, good deal.
Yeah.
Warren said, the best thing that happened to me in marriage counseling is I learned to focus on trying to make her the happiest person in the world, regardless of how I'm feeling. My energy is all out looking at and correcting my faults for us to grow as one. It starts with me for us to be successful and happy. Hmm.
I often talk to couples about the partnership that
Mhm.
lies in marriage.
Okay.
It's real important to understand that you're working together as a team. And you and I talked about this, Nicole. We're not in competition. We're not working against each other. We both have the same goals. Sometimes, and this was something that Troy and I had to learn, is that we often had the same goal, but how we thought about accomplishing the goal or what we thought was needed to work towards the goal was different. And the thing that we were missing was that we had the same goal. And so sometimes it's important for couples to be reminded and for them to remind each other that we are actually partners in this and we do want the same things. And sometimes our ideas about how to accomplish that might be different. And then there's an opportunity. There's an opportunity for growth there. There's an opportunity for sharing. And that's really key. That's really key. So, in fact, I said that I wanted to share some secrets to a healthy marriage. And so, one of the secrets is friendship. When married couples or couples genuinely enjoy each other as friends, they are likely more successful. One of the researched relationship experts that I study and I share a lot of his work, is Dr. John Gottman. And this is one of the key principles that he and his wife talk about in their training sessions. Friendship. When you care about the person genuinely as a friend, you typically want the best for the person. You want to encourage the person, and they in like and in return also encourage you and want the best for you. And so when you really want the best for each other, there's less of an opportunity for there to be competition, for there to be um, undermining the person's authority, if there are children involved in your parenting, which adds another whole layer to marriage that can complicate things. But we work together when we're friends. And when we really think about friendship and those people that we love as friends, we enjoy being with them. We enjoy being around them. We enjoy sharing things with them. And often the relationship is reciprocal. And that is missing in a lot of marriages, is that reciprocity is missing.
So I want to pause right there because actually this goes back to a thought that I had a little bit earlier when you were talking about people didn't know each other. So my thought was how in this pandemic where folks had to be at home with one another as opposed to being
Mm-hmm.
passing in the night, going through
Mm-hmm.
the motions of everyday life and whatever they do with children and whatever they do on the weekend, which might have not have been spent a whole lot of time with each other.
Yes,
They found out that they really didn't like each other and
absolutely.
they really weren't friends.
Absolutely. And let me tell you, this pandemic has created or has shed light on a lot of unhealthy relationships, be them couples, marriage, and or parent-child relationships. There were children who really have struggled because they've had to be, I think, on lockdown with their parents.
Yes.
And parents being on lockdown with their children and not having that time away from each other. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is one of
So,
my colleagues.
Candace.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you for being here, Candace. So Jamil said something that you and I talked about. She said the couple silence. Me, repeat after me. We are on the same team. We are team one. We are team whatever the team last name
Coleman.
is.
In fact,
Coleman.
yeah, I have a T-shirt that I made for Troy and I for our anniversary. Oh, maybe 5 years ago, that says Team Coleman. Does it say Team Coleman? Oh, it
Mhm.
says Coleman lifetime member.
Okay. Love
Yeah.
it. Love it. Love it.
Yeah, but yeah. And this is another key. A lot of a lot of times it's real exciting to be engaged. It's exciting to have a wedding. It's exciting to plan. It's exciting for all of that. And then after that, the excitement wanes.
Mhm.
But those vows that are said during those ceremonies, I think people often don't really mean what they say.
Mhm.
I think that they, in the moment, believe what they say, as important, as special as a ritual. But in reality, 12 years into it, when you're disgusted and frustrated and tired, and people won't put dishes in the dishwasher, and people won't take the dog out, uh, folks forget what
Mhm.
those words were. But those vows are important. So when we're talking about um, being a partnership and being a lifetime member,
Mhm.
the lifetime member part doesn't often occur because when things get hard, a lot of times people give up.
Yeah. So, Uncle Julian said, name anyone that you spend time with outside of work or obligation. No one. We spend time with people we like and tolerate folks we love. We have 37 years of being in like.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. Love
Yeah.
it. Yes.
My mom's anniversary is actually this week,
Okay.
March 9th. Yeah, she and her husband will be married. Oh, I don't know, 15 years, I think it is.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice. So, yeah, that like part is huge. I
Mm-hmm.
have talked to some married folks that do not like their spouses at
Right.
all.
Exactly. So liking your spouse is important. Having a genuine friendship with your spouse is important. Getting to know your spouse. And this is another thing. When you have children and you have children early in your marriage, and then the marriage is spent raising the children, a lot of the work that the couple does is the family is the center of that interaction. When the children leave and go off to college, or they have grown into adulthood and they leave the home, the nest, now that couple is looking at each other like, and now what do I do? And who are you really? And sometimes getting to know your spouse all over again can be exciting if people choose for it to be. But if there is that drudgery, that resentment, that just focusing on all the parts of what they are unhappy with and not using this opportunity to really reconnect with their spouse, there is an opportunity for, again, people to call it quits. And I've worked with adult couples who had parents that divorced after they went off to college. Many, many, many couples that divorce where their kids leave home and go off to college.
Yeah. Yeah, just waiting for them to be of age and, I guess not affect their lives.
And that's not true. Divorce affects everybody's life, no matter what stage.
Yeah.
Adult children have been pained by their parents' divorces. And that's not to say that every single marriage is supposed to stay intact. I know as a Christian, I believe the Bible says, it talks about, marriage being ordained by God. Marriage is a very special and sanctified place. But there are some really unhealthy marriages that it's more damaging for the people to be together. And damaging in physical ways, damaging in emotional ways. And it does not benefit children for parents to stay in a relationship where it's unhealthy.
Right.
And it's damaging just for the sake of being together. Especially when God is not a part of that union. And God doesn't just live in your house because he hangs on the wall. God doesn't just live in your house because you have a Bible sitting on your coffee table. Right.
Yeah. You better say that. All
true.
right. So we got some comments that I think are definitely worth sharing. Uncle Julian said the challenge with teams is a lot of women never participate in team sports and actually learn teammate skills, but being on the same team is critical. All right. Renee said, giving up is not an option. We are in this until the end. I love that we can look at each other when we are angry and just start laughing, completely forgetting what we were even arguing about.
That is so true, Renee. I tell couples all the time that disagreeing with your spouse is not the end of the marriage. You can be very frustrated with your spouse and love him or love her or love him. But that's being happy and skipping through the tulips is not a requirement for a healthy marriage. And I say these things every day to couples, that arguing and disagreeing is normal. Arguing and disagreeing and being respectful is necessary for a healthy marriage. And so even in friendships, people disagree. They'll have a conversation and say, where do you want to go eat? And the other person will say, well, I don't care. And then the one person says, let's get Chinese. And the person's like, I don't want Chinese. And then, well, why didn't you tell me you didn't want Chinese? And then there's a disagreement. But we don't fall out of friendship because we had a disagreement about where to go eat. And that happens in couples and in relationships where people believe that if we argue, this means something's wrong with our relationship. And so my other secret, which
hold
really
on.
is a secret.
Hold on one moment, Danielle, because Ozzy had a comment too that I thought was good. He said, because most have their agenda and press the contract to follow in the name of love, not knowing that the oven only gets hotter after the I do run.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
hard work. Marriage is hard
Mhm.
work. And
Mhm.
marriage, but it's possible. And it's possible to be happy. And
Yeah.
happiness does not look like, again, skipping
Mhm.
through the tulips.
Yeah.
Happiness doesn't look like, we're having sex every day and
Mhm.
he's bringing me flowers every day and I'm cooking him a meal every day.
Mhm.
That's not necessarily happiness. Happiness is about feeling safe and secure in your relationship, to know that when things get tough, you've got a partner that will stand with you. When things get tough, you've got somebody you can lean on, that you've got somebody you can pray with, you've got somebody who can pray for you. When things are tough, you've got somebody who is your ride or die. That's what makes marriage last. And I say this often, the people who get to 50 years and 60 years of marriage, they didn't get there without struggles and problems. They didn't get there without arguing. They didn't get there without disagreeing. That's a part of the marital journey. That doesn't mean we look for opportunities to argue, but when it comes about, we don't have to feel afraid and we don't have to run away from it, because some days in life, there are going to be rainy days. There are going to be storms in life. And what we want to do is we want to be able to withstand the storm. We want to be able to survive the storm. So when those heavy winds blow, instead of us falling down and crumpling, we stand up. We work together. We hold each other up. So, are you ready for my secrets or not?
I am absolutely ready for your secrets. That was wonderful. Go ahead.
So, okay, so back to Dr. John Gottman, who is this relationship expert. I absolutely encourage anybody who hasn't seen or known or heard or read about Dr. Gottman. You can look him up on YouTube, and he has books that are available. But there are 4 specific communication pitfalls that he guards couples to be mindful about. So, as I was talking earlier about the arguing and how disagreeing, sometimes it's natural. It's a natural part of what happens in relationships. When I teach couples about this, I tell them arguing it's not wrong. Arguing is not bad, and arguing in and of itself will not ruin a relationship. But when you argue and you criticize your spouse, that's a pitfall. So criticisms are only pointing out what the person does that's wrong or frustrating or disappointing. And it's only focusing on the parts of that person's behaviors that you are unhappy with. That's a problem.
Okay.
Yes. The Gottman Institute is awesome. A lot of therapists are trained specifically in the work of Dr. Gottman. And so it's a really, really good work. So that's one. Criticism is a communication pitfall.
Okay.
Number 2 is defensiveness.
Hmm.
And again, this happens oftentimes when people are disagreeing and people are unhappy with each other. They often say things that are hurtful to their spouse or to their partner. Well, if I call you a bad name, it's likely the person is going to call me a bad name. And that's going to make me lash out. And that's going to make the other person be defensive. And so then there's this volleying back and forth of all of this ugliness. So you've got the criticism, and then you've got the person being defensive. And so when we're defensive, we block. And we block sometimes with really harsh and awful, terrible things that we say. And obviously, when we say it and it's out, we can't take it back. And sometimes those words can be very, very damaging. So these are 2, there are 4 communication pitfalls. So criticism is 1. When we're criticizing our spouse and partner, it doesn't help our relationship. It doesn't help us feel better about the partnership. When we're defensive, that doesn't hurt. Hey, Roslyn. I'm so glad and so happy to see Roslyn on. Defensive doesn't help. Stonewalling. Stonewalling is about walking away in the heat of an argument and not working it through. Stonewalling is when a person they say all of what they want to say, and when the other person opens their mouth to say anything, they walk out. literally walk out. They get in the car, they drive away. They don't come back for hours. Sometimes they don't come back for a day, or they just drop the whole conversation as if it never were a thing. Stonewalling is really about building that wall. And again, a very, very dangerous communication pitfall. And the last one is contempt. Contempt is really nasty sarcasm, really awful name calling, really undermining the other person, tearing the person down. And Dr. Gottman talks about contempt as one of the most damaging of the communication pitfalls. So what I say to couples, for those that are really, really, really genuinely interested in a healthy marriage, be your partner's friend. Be your partner's friend. And this doesn't mean that your partner has to do everything with you. They got to go to the grocery store with you, and they got to go to the nail salon with you, and you got to go to the hair salon with you, and you got to go to the barbershop with them. But it's about enjoying each other as friends. And it's wonderful to have friends outside of them because, and this is another thing that's important to understand, is that your partner cannot and will not meet every need. Cannot and will not meet every need. So when you get to know who your spouse is and you understand the character of your spouse, then you know the capacity for which your spouse is available for. And when you have a spouse that really isn't interested, I tell a lot of stories. I can be long-winded. Sometimes my husband just isn't interested, but in my long stories and my long-windedness. But I have girlfriends who are absolutely interested in my very long-winded stories. And so in my self-care, can have relationships outside of him that help me be fulfilled, because I don't have an expectation that he is going to meet every single need I have. So that's not what friendship is about. But friendship is, I genuinely care for him and his well-being, and he genuinely cares for me.
So I got to pause right there because she said something that I think is very critical. Knowing the capacity to which your partner can hold space for you, right?
Yes.
That is key. So that actually kind of brings into mind for me, like knowing your partner's love language.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Which is another really important thing that I talk about with my clients. Actually, I had this conversation with a couple on yesterday, and I asked the couple if they were familiar with each other's love language. And I encourage couples to be mindful of each other's love languages. And I'll run them down really quickly. There's acts of service. Of course, that's when we enjoy having our partner do things for us, like giving us a back massage, or picking up our dry cleaning, or buying my favorite beverage from the grocery store. So doing an act of service, washing my car, vacuuming out my car. My very best friend from college, her dad heats up her mom's car in the wintertime without fail. To my knowledge, without fail. Without fail. He warms her car so she could get into a warm car. His care and love for her is that she is not in that discomfort.
Right.
So there are some men who will fill up their wife's gas tank. She never has to pump gas. Those are examples of acts of service. Physical touch is pretty obvious. There are some people who are touchy-feely. Right. And I happen to be that kind of person. I like holding hands. I like sitting close. Physical touch also can be about sexual touch, but all touch doesn't have to be sexual, and can be really fulfilling. Giving gifts. There are some that really enjoy receiving gifts, giving gifts. That's a love language. Words of affirmation, which is my favorite. So being able to acknowledge your spouse or your partner, telling your spouse and partner how much you appreciate them, or fawning over them, or using your little pet names for them. And then the last one is quality time, which is also really, really key. Just being able to be near, and marking out time specifically and especially for your partner.
So Princess had a question. When do you learn love language in a relationship?
Oh, anytime.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime. So this particular book is written by
You talking about Gary Chapman?
Gary Chapman, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But your partner's love language is about getting to know your partner and
Mm-hmm.
understanding who your partner is and what's important to them.
Right.
Yeah.
And also recognizing that your love language may change over time.
Yes, absolutely. It's a very good point.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So Princess also said a little bit earlier that she wished that her ex-husband and her had been shown what a healthy marriage was based on. She said she felt like he was her ride or die, but just young.
Yes, I hear that very, very often. There are a lot of young couples that fall in love, and I think it's real. I think the love is real, and I think that they mature, and they may not mature at the same pace. Their goals change, and that becomes detrimental for a family. For sure.
Absolutely. Ozzy shared that his parents celebrated 53 years
Wonderful.
yesterday.
Yeah.
And he said, I can say in the observation that their relationship with God and worship together is the lasting road that kept them together to this day. They discuss their issues in the bedroom and then come out in the living room. They maintain their integrity in following their rules in marriage.
That's beautiful.
That is.
Yeah. And I'll tell you this, that there are a lot. My mom is married now, but my mom wasn't married many of the years that I was younger. And she's in her third marriage. So there were marriages that failed or marriages that didn't work out, and not necessarily because of anything she did wrong, just because the relationship was unhealthy. But in that, and my story is not unique, a lot of families children in a family don't have the model for what a healthy marriage looks like. Just because sometimes it doesn't work out that way. In fact, every person in my family has been divorced.
Wow.
At least once. Every person in my family has been divorced, with the exception of my Aunt Jocelyn. It's my mama's sister.
Okay.
But she married a man who had been divorced. Everybody. And that's not about a character flaw for the person, right? Because sometimes people are just poorly matched. Sometimes people's behaviors change. Sometimes people were sold a wooden nickel. And so I think my mama was sold a wooden nickel or two. But in any case, there are some children who grow up in homes and they don't really get to see how healthy marriages look. And in fact, when I talk now to couples about the arguing, I make a point of helping couples to know that arguing can be a healthy way to exchange ideas and to be able to come to a place of resolution. But I didn't understand that arguing was normal, because as growing up in a single parent family home, there was nobody for my mama to argue with. So when she made a decision, that was it. When the rule was what the rule was, that was it.
Right.
And I didn't see her discuss with anybody or have an exchange with anybody about anything that was any contention. So when I got married and my husband and I would disagree, it felt like the sky was going to fall because we were not on the same page about whatever this issue was. And it really took me years into the marriage to understand that arguing and disagreeing wasn't bad or wrong, but how you disagree and how you argue and what words you use and what body language you use and what you do physically makes the difference. So being intentional about that love and that friendship and wanting the best for your spouse or your partner, seeing the best in your spouse and your partner is important. Oh, and this is also one last tip, because I think we're getting close to the end. It's important to understand that there is not always going to be a win-win.
Okay.
That's really important. Some people think that we both have to win, and that's just not the case, because there won't be a we both win situation sometimes. But what can happen is that people can work together and come to a decision that they both can choose to live with. Especially when you're raising children, there are going to be differences of opinions, and one person might want to put earrings in the child's ears, and the other person don't want to put earrings in the child's ears, which was an argument we had. And there is no win-win in that. Either we're going to put earrings in or we not, and somebody going to be upset, and somebody may not be. But when you can decide that our partnership is bigger than this disagreement. That's what helps the relationship be long lasting.
Indeed, indeed. All good points. All good points. Gosh. So I had a question around if you're in couples therapy and you recognize maybe one person has had some adverse childhood experiences or things that they hadn't worked on, which is kind of what maybe causing some of the issues, would you recommend maybe that one partner do a deeper dive or get some individual
Absolutely.
therapy? Okay.
Absolutely. In fact, I have had some couples end couples therapy so that one of the partners or one of the persons in the relationship could focus on their individual therapy, or both partners work on individual therapy. Because if an individual has their own past traumas, their own past hurts, their family of origin issues, that could be a detriment to them being able to move along healthier in their current relationship, because unhealthy people aren't capable of being healthy in a relationship. And hurt people hurt people. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Unequivocally.
Yeah.
And I actually had a client was upset because I pointed out that the way that they were this one partner was interacting with their spouse was hurtful, and that the hurt wasn't done on accident over and over and over again. The hurt wasn't done just because it was fun, especially when the person tells you it's not fun and it hurts and I don't like it, and you keep doing it. There's a reason why that happens. And it's likely because there's something unpleasant. You're angry, you're resentful, you were hurt yourself, and so you're lashing out because they're hurt. But it doesn't work to be healthy in a relationship when you're an unhealthy agent.
Yeah. So, you actually said something at the beginning in terms of people saying communication being what needs to be worked on, but sometimes it's resentment, sometimes it's unresolved trauma, sometimes it's
infidelity.
Okay.
Sometimes people done got an apartment and they didn't tell their spouse they got an apartment. And they come and say, it's a communication issue. No, not when they got a whole nother apartment. That's the issue. That's not a communication issue. And sometimes people communicate and what they do is not lining up with what they say. Yeah.
Wow. An unhealthy agent. Okay. Good stuff. Wow, this has been great.
Super fun. Thank you so much, Nicole.
Really
Thank you everyone for joining tonight.
Yeah, for sure. So how can folks connect if, and I know that you work for your, you have a outpatient place that you work at, not that you're taking clients currently.
I am.
You are? Okay.
Yes.
All right. So how can
my clients have to be in the state of North Carolina, and they can be anywhere in North Carolina. They don't have to be in my local area.
All right.
But they'd have to be in the state of North Carolina.
Okay. So how can they connect with you?
So let's see. I have a number.
All right. I can put it up.
It is 704 266 4208, extension 705. That's my work number. And they can leave me messages there.
Okay.
I'm also on Psychology Today.
Mhm.
It's a great resource for finding a therapist. You put my name in, Danielle Coleman, and I'm on Psychology Today with the same telephone number, 704-266-4208, extension 705. Oh,
Yeah.
thanks.
Yes, my pleasure. My pleasure. I appreciate it. All right. So, number of folks are chiming in saying, thank you. Great conversation. You're an awesome therapist. I learned so much, which is awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome.
Thank you.
Yes, yes, yes. I really appreciate your time tonight. And the name of that book again?
Oh, the book, The 7 Principles.
For Making Marriage Work. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
7 Principles for Making Marriage Work by John Gottman.
Yes, Gottman, Gottman.
Okay.
Hey, Valerie.
Cool.
Awesome.
So I hope you all found this beneficial. I think so, based on the comments. Definitely want to invite you all to subscribe to the Conversations with Nicole YouTube.
I did today.
Yay! Subscribing and supporting, and we need all the support we can get.
Oh, Courtney, all the way from
I'm
California.
trying to reach
Yay.
4,000 views by the end of March. So just play the episodes. We have quite a few since November on mental health and wellness, but encouraging you, let's keep this conversation going. Go see a counselor.
Thank you, Carmita.
Go see a therapist. Get your checkup from the neck up and do the work.
Thank you, Ayana.
And thank you for all the folks that came in here and commented and made this very engaging. This was a really great show. Let's keep the conversation going. Tag a friend. Let them know they need to watch this. They need to check out the replay. They can even comment in the replay. And yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Hey, Adrian.
You're welcome. Look,
I think I saw Gloria on too. Thank you so much.
Isis is over in Little Rock, Arkansas. She's a therapist.
Oh, fantastic.
She was on last month. So folks are all right. I appreciate that, Mike.
Awesome.
Claiming the 4,000 views. I love it. All right. Well, this again has been great. Appreciate your time. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
All right.